Okay. Promoting patriotic education, an actual GOP quote from the 1776 Commission. Manifest Destiny, the white privilege OG, privatizing freedom since 1843 and financing it with white pride, genocide, and slavery, amassing a fortune that still feeds the festering GOP, or should I say, the new Confederacy. They're commissioning 1776 just so they can get yet another fix. They still want us all turning their tricks because every pimp needs their hose. In their bizarre reality, they normalize insanity while selling out humanity to avoid their status quos. You see, white privilege is Western civ, required curriculum, while everyone else is just an elective. Hello, and thank you for attending our second edition of Hearing Marginalized Voices Through Poetry. This edition, we will be celebrating Black heritage and history, as today is February 1st. And we're going to kick it off by celebrating the heritage of our Black folk that are living here in America with us. Unfortunately, all too often, Black history in America starts with slavery, as if there were nothing that came before that. And so perhaps maybe it's time we start teaching Black heritage instead. Like, imagine if slavery were taught as white history instead of Black history. How different might we be today? And this is one of the primary reasons I feel that we have this event, is so that we can hear the histories and heritage from the very people who have lived it their whole lives, to help us come to a better understanding of each other and our experiences. So with that in mind, I just wanted to point out that there's a lot of talk right now, a lot of debate about critical race theory. So I just wanted to clear up a couple of things. Critical race theory is an academic concept that's more than 40 years old. The core idea is that race is actually a social construct, and that racism is not merely a product of individual bias or prejudice, but also something that's embedded in our legal systems and our policies. And the recent hubbub that we've been hearing is mostly because in a response, the 1776 Commission, which is also nicknamed the 1776 Project, was an advisory committee established in September 2020 by the Trump administration to support what they called patriotic education. So I feel as an instructor, as a teacher at the college level, it's imperative that we keep our actual histories alive. And as poets often do in spoken word, this is the modern day oral history. And I think these are the things that we should be listening to, we should pay attention to. These are the things that we will learn the actual history from and get to know each other and maybe figure out how to make this work. So with that in mind, I'm going to turn it over to the experts. So the first person that we are going to hear from today is Stacy Dyson, who is an amazing poet, a cappella vocalist, playwright who specializes in the life and times of Black women. Ms. Dyson has done program design, residencies, workshops, and live performances all over America. She's the author of 7 collections of poetry, 5 poetry spoken word CDs. She's a former poet laureate for Imagination Celebration out of Colorado Springs. She was a nominee for Poet Laureate for the state of Colorado. She's also a Pikes Peak Community Foundation Individual Merit Award recipient and a Colorado Women's Playwriting Festival winner. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. She's a downright awesome lady to know, and I'm glad that she's in my life. So without further ado, I would like to turn it over to Stacy. Please, Miss Stacy, educate us.
Well, golly, nothing to live up to there. Thank you, Bear. Lovely to see you all this morning. I'm just going to go ahead and do a straight set. I am famous for not using titles, so y'all need to hang on and keep up. I'll be reading mostly from one of the collections I published last summer, Lovely and Suffering, and my second collection also published last summer, Follow Me on This. I want to stop dreaming their names. I want to stop breathing their last words. I want to stop washing my hands for 20 seconds of what's going on and precious Lord, take my hand. I want to stop sitting on conference calls numb or crying because another fake 911 lynching murder was top news when I turned on my phone. I tell a lot of lies about allergies these days. I want to be able to call Brianna's name without aching and being sick, crying for 2 hours. I need people to stop reminding me that Jesus was a rebel. Jesus was a warrior. Keep my Savior's name out of your mouth if you cannot use it properly. I am exhausted in the search for just a bit more calm, just a bit more reason. I am not out of patience. I am finished being patient. I am tired of warning you to learn the difference. There is nothing more volatile than a Black woman who has made friends with both her beauty and her pain. And we are lovely and suffering right now. We are lovely and suffering right now. We are lovely and suffering right now. From the time I was a little girl, I heard two things: be more, be better. Whether it was dress, behavior, speech, grades, whatever it was, as a girl, I was expected to be more, be better. See, you were told boys could slough off. It was okay because boys would be boys, but girls had to be women. You weren't even given that choice of an in-between. We had to know how to take care, be strong, take care, be present, take care, pull the race forward, take care, be more, be better all the time. I would have enjoyed hearing at least once, be more about yourself. Be better about doing things for you. I would have enjoyed hearing at least once, be more appreciated. Be better about who you let into your heart and your life and your bed. I would have appreciated hearing just once, you don't have to be more of anything or better at everything. You are a Black woman. Let them come to you. I don't see that happening anytime soon. And I am sorry too. I am sorry for my little sisters who grow up under the burden of be more, be better, be more, be better, be more, be better, because it's never going to be for us or to us. We are world over, centuries older, the hand that rocks the cradle. We are somewhere in the background of every man who has ever taken power. We are the strong ones, the unassailable ones, the ones who keep on going, keep on kicking, keep on ticking, keep on fighting. We have to do more. We have to be better because the world collapses without us. We have to do more. We have to be better because we know in our blood and bone that civilization does not exist without us. We have to do more and be better just to stay one step behind. And all that do more, be better guarantees nothing. We were still paid 69 cents on the dollar. We are still ignored as if we do not exist in policy and opinion. When we are assertive, then we are bossy and aggressive. When we are demanding of our rights, we are unfeminine troublemakers. When we, God forbid, express an opinion that does not fall into lockstep with whatever the current thought and policy is, never mind that said policy affects our health, our rights, our bodies, we are called traitor, ingrate, bitch, and weak. We are none of those things. We are simply forever, forever trying to be more, be better, be more, be better, be more, be better, be more, be better. This is the one piece that I'm going to do where I will actually announce the title because it needs to be said. Her name needs to be invoked as often as possible. This is Brianna's song, lyric 2. 27 erased by 8 equals blood on Daniel Cameron's hands. 27 erased by 8 equals no more dreaming and still no justice. Even now, 27 erased by 8 only equals more struggle and rest in power. And I know that mother's tears falling century down century did not keep you safe. I am sorry that our soft voices and white gloved hands and choir singing were not enough to keep you safe. Sorry that trying to fit into this tapestry, sacrificing to fit into this supposedly sweet and welcoming tapestry was not enough. Our not being angry was not enough to keep you breathing. And I don't know what you had planned for your birthday, but I do know that you were a woman, not a symbol. I know that sometime you must have fussed with your hair, fussed with your man, fussed about your job, got loud with your girls, got out in the streets singing and swinging and blinging so you could forget about your day, laid up in the bed some days, watching the rain, made love, made plans. I know that as a Black woman, there were some days you couldn't take it anymore, felt like you couldn't see one more horror, but you stayed in the game. Went back the next day, did your job. There were days when you just got tired of being a Black woman because that's what Black women do. That's what and who we are. We did everything we were supposed to. We trusted and prayed and held our heads up and made way out of no way. We took it. We worked with it. We held on, held it down, did the work, held it down, held it together, held on and on and on while this country, this place did every wicked thing it could to tear us apart. We did everything we could, used every way we know, every day and night, living the way we are supposed to live to save our children, and it still wasn't enough. Our holding it down, fighting the system, setting streets on fire, soft words, bowed gloves, bowed heads, white gloves, swallowed humiliations and words and tears and songs and suffering wasn't enough. The way we have been told we need to live our entire lives wasn't enough. You were still not safe. You were our daughter, our auntie, our little sister. No, not our mother. Never anyone's mother. We tried everything. You died anyway. Right now, you are on your way to becoming an icon. Your name will go down as a martyr to the cause. I am truly sorry for that, because no one deserves such a hellish honor. 27 erased by 8 should not equal political expedients, cover-ups, lies, does not justify or explain the dirt they tried to bury you with. 27 erased by 8 and wrong, and a mother who will never sleep again because her baby sleeps too young and forever. Why? Why? For what? All she wanted, all anyone ever wants, is to be human, flawed and free and human, flawed and alive and free and human. In Lovely and Suffering, there are the Karen poems, because, you know, we had to do some Karen poems. And I had written the first one. I hear somebody snapping. I'd written the first one and I thought, that's it, I'm done. And, yeah, and then something happened. And so I had to write Karen 2. And then it was like, okay, you know, that's cute. You know, we got a set, 2 is fine. And then something else happened. And there is Karen 3. There may be Karen, 4 to 29. I don't know yet. But we're just going to do this morning anyway. We're just going to do Karen 2. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being back away slowly from the cookout, nobody needs to get hurt, and 10 being me offering physical violence to elders, as in, I will slap your grandma and mine in the middle of Main Street at high noon for this, my irritation level is at about 45 and rising. All this crying and pearl clutching got me in a non-conciliatory frame of mind. Miss me with that noise, please. Why is my pain only validated by your distress? When Black, brown women cry for their babies, why is it necessary for white tears to validate the experience? Is it because we've done it so often that our tears are invisible, don't count anymore? Why is any conversation always at your behest? We've been wanting to talk for centuries now. Why are our lives suddenly worth taking notice? Because you finally decided to take notice? Well then, it must be important. Check it. One white woman got upset one morning, spilled her coffee, got national headlines, and changed the law. We get up upset every morning, every hour of every day, spill all the tea, and get called gossips, abrasive, nasty, and non-pleasing. I was raised up carefully, well-born and well-bred, so the most that I can say to that is you may personally kiss it right here, because F that S. Yeah, go on and laugh, but I have ancestors to answer to. Sorry, Grandma. Speaking for sisters everywhere, keep our names out of your mouths, because in case you hadn't got the memo, whatever you start, we are going to finish. Don't waste your tears on trying to impress us with your pain. We live where you only visit, and tourists, quite frankly, are not welcome. Sisters bleed, bond, and back each other up. Y'all want to eat the cake and not clean up the kitchen. Then get upset when your dainty selves catch hands or our ambitious dreams without stopping to drink at the river of your opinions. Some of y'all so weak, can't even take a Becky between the eyes. Can't get hit with the truth without crying about your stress level. Keep self-importantly screaming, you're the one making it about race. Well, yeah, because it is. It always has been. You want to call me sister? Prove you fight like I do. That's right. You have to prove it. Don't want to see your pink cat hat or your notorious RBG t-shirt. Show me oppression turned into beauty marks, like children with full bellies and laws that protect everybody. Show me relationships full of truth, not convenience. Show me your soul's tears hit the earth and birth renewable energies like gold and water and love, real love. You want me to call you sister? Listen to me. Stop using me. Celebrate who I am without making me use your mirror. Back me up. Honor and sing my songs too. Stop trying to be me when it is fashionable or it suits. Just be real. Do you. And if that sounds like too much, well, let me put it this way. If after using my milk to suckle your children, after raising those children so they could sell or slave me and mine, after scrubbing your floors and clothes so you could go to fundraisers where I got talked about as the problem, after being given the backseat in movements I bled out over, after moving ahead as an exemplar of my sisters, only to be judged by the standards by which the world celebrates everything you do or say or decide to be, if after all that you decide we're ungrateful or impatient or too angry, you know what? You may personally, can unreservedly kiss it right here, cause F that S. Sorry, Grandma. I have just 2 more poems for you. Bear, am I okay on time?
Yeah, 2 is great.
Okay. Let's start with the nightmares. We've all had dreams where all and everything is lost, home, family, way of life. Those have been the nocturnal terrors of nearly everyone for 2 years. But what you need to understand is how much worse it has been for Black people, for people of color. Thorns that pricked your sleeping felt like nails pounded into our flesh, nightly crucifixions. And to be honest, the pain wasn't any better when we woke up. Let's start with the trauma of waking up every morning, checking the news, scanning Google to see whether or not the 13th Amendment has been repealed. You think I'm kidding? Yes, that was a real worry. You saw the last 4 years, you know what could have happened? It was on my doorstep to the point where a friend wrote and congratulated me on living with someone who would hide me, would pass me off as a servant if need be. Yes, it got to that point. Let's talk about the fact that whatever faith, whatever fictions I held about this country were destroyed. A slow disintegration at first, then uncaringly ripped away by people who really don't see me as anything more than something to be worked, raped, sold, experimented on. In truth, it was no different than the history of this country, just glaringly plain and out in the open. The last 4 years were one slow and agonizing game of made you look, made you cry, made you bleed. I have never in my life waked up in tears, gone to bed in tears, knowing that there was no respite in sleep and knowing that whatever I woke to was going to be so much worse than what had numbed me enough to lose consciousness the night before. Let's look at the damage done. Not yet. Not yet. We're not there yet. The healing from this will not come in my lifetime. The pain compounded by injury from centuries past, the thought, the knowledge that everything I tried to believe, everything I bled to believe betrayed me, betrayed people like me. I will sleep with that for the rest of my life. I will rise with that for the rest of my life. Having to know that, face that. Let's talk about the nightmares. Y'all are very, very sweet to put up with me at this hour of the morning or this afternoon. Got one last piece for you, Bear. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
This one, this is an old one. This piece is over 20 years old and has ended just about every show that I have ever done. So I don't see any reason to break the tradition. Now, usually at this point, I go ahead and invite the audience to unmute themselves because we're about to have church and I do not come from a quiet tradition. So open your mic.
Take your time, Reverend.
I'm getting ready to testify.
Take your time.
The usual question is why? What made you be a poet? I've heard about how death turned some people, jail time, bad fortune. I can't claim any of that.
Let's go.
I am a poet because even at 5, you know when the Lord is talking to you. I am a poet because God laid his hand on me and said, here am I, now speak. So if you hear something in this poem you know and believe, say amen.
Amen.
If you hear something you don't know but want to believe, sing wow. And if you don't know and can't believe, then tip your waiter and prove you tried to keep Trump the hell out of office so you have done something useful with your sorry self. I am a poet because love laid its light on my parents' marriage. They held each other's hearts like jewels, polished with 5 girls, money problems, fights, and good times, so that when my mother said no to the chemo, no to the surgery, no to the cancer, she died smiling in my father's arms. I am a poet because every 7 seconds a woman is raped, because every 2 minutes a child is molested, because every half hour somebody dies alone. And every hour on the hour, government commits genocide while big business pats itself on the back. Because I applaud innovation, but tradition is the fire at which my soul warms itself. I am a poet because my nephew's smiles hang the stars. I have friends and sisters whose personal job it is in life to mess with me all the time. Because my baby misses me so bad when I'm away and loves me back home so sweet. I am a poet because using the language properly is like good sex. If you can't stroke it, kiss it, taste it, and then lay it down till it screams with every intended passion, keep your damn mouth shut. I am a poet because of Langston Hughes, Mahalia Maya, and Dylan Thomas, Mary Evans, Sonia Sanchez, Gato Barbieri, Nora Jones, Duke Ellington, Nikki Giovanni, and Shaka Khan.
Come on.
Because of Alexander Dumas' Père et Fils, Raymond Chandler, Tina Marie, and Johann Sebastian Bach. I am a poet because when Smokey sang, "Let me be the clock for the time of your life," every woman in the world said, "Tick-tock, baby." I am a poet because when I was young, my parents did not medicate, therapy, or offer alternative behaviors. They smacked my hand, whipped my butt, and made me hold my head up to say, "I'm sorry." I am a poet because I am a Black woman in a white world whose prayers to the ancestors bring down fire from the sky that I kiss into the diamonds I want to hang in your ears. Because the words retard, fag, slut, nigga bitch are still accepted and recognized parts of conversation. I am a poet because Sacagawea got jacked up on the gold dollar, Cleopatra was a sister, and because rejecting European standards of beauty, I roll out every morning so damn fine that I am illegal in all 50 states and most of the US territory.
Come
I
on.
am a poet because I know God, because I know he laid his hand on me and said, "Here am I. Now speak."
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
One more time for Stacy Dyson. Oh my goodness.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Take a moment to digest that. If that was not enough, we now have coming to the screen and stage Mr. Billy Tuggle, who is a vocalist, performance poet, teaching artist, and parent. A lover of literary games, he's a poetry slam and head-to-head haiku competitor, winning the head-to-head haiku national championship in 2015. Billy co-hosts Chicago's In One Ear open mic in the Haiku Dojo workshop series. Billy's latest chapbook, Incantation, shares poems of urban life with metaphysical and supernatural overtones. You can also find some of his works archived by Button Poetry, Outdoor Voices in an Indoor World, and other portals of the internet. He currently spreads his message all over the world, literally all over the world, with the use of the interverse. And on a personal level, I just want to say that I first came across Billy when I was part of the slam circuit back in the early 2000s. And it's amazing that the universe has brought us together again to a point where I call you my friend. And I'm honored to be able to do that. And I'm glad to have you here today. So please, y'all, give it up for Mr. Billy Tuggle.
Thank you. Bear, thank you for having me. Kishwaukee, thank you for having me. Let me just try and jump right into this. I'm gonna take you on a quick journey, starting right here from the universe across my neighborhood on the south side of Chicago. And we'll end up, I promise you, in kind of a fun place. No more questions. If the name Rodney King means anything to you, don't ask. If you're old enough to recall Richard Pryor waxed comedic about LAPD chokeholds, or how he shot up his own car and retreated as police approached, recalling what they do with their magnums, don't ask. If you've never fit the description, don't open your mouth. If you've never had your spouse's gaze, check an unmarked 12 gaze as your menacing black ass walk from the corner with groceries. Don't ask. If you think Sandra Bland killed herself, we probably aren't friends. If you know a good one who ain't turning in the bad ones, don't say shit else. If you can't tell pistol from stun gun by its weight, by its gravity, or by the reputation of the user, stop bothering. If you don't see the blue line that separates brown bodies from uniforms, you probably won't recognize a lynch mob. You have the audacity to demand Black athletes stand mute for a slaver's anthem. Get the F out of here. If my reply to you is, but did they deserve to die? Choose your next phrase with the care that I choose my allies. Don't ask about the criminal record, the family life, the toxicology report, like you tried not to ask if Officer Friendly went too far before you bring me, but why, or did they comply? Google it or hit my Cash app, Billy since 71. You watched the video. Black people, indigenous peoples, stop answering. Stop having these conversations with devil's advocates and stand on the truth of our perils to the devil and advocates. You have dismissed previous discourse with verdicts and legislation with statistics and blinders. The clock is running out. Keep rigging the game, moving the goalposts, changing the questions. I promise you will not like our final answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
In the second that I jaywalked, as usual, diagonal across the street and alley, I realized the police cruiser, standard white, lake blue stripe, red lettering, was turning the wrong way east towards me from the driver's side. Miss Officer bellows, "Take off your hood." The next second of processing, that next second could bring mayhem with wrong answer or twitch by an instant suspect, a 40-something, 50-something, with a destination with wife and child around the corner still standing while mine races home. Never considered that I fit any description other than Black, male, hooded in my own brown neighborhood. Never considered that I was quota and demographic. Never considered that I would be target for the search for criminals more heinous than jaywalkers and leaving the house. Black. Just wanted to cross the street, be a pedestrian, go to the red line, to my open mic, get this shit off my psyche, make it back around the corner to my family without probable cause, without mistaken identity, just because, without being suspect. Thank you. So, full disclosure, I am in fact an art criminal. I have never been cited nor convicted, so technically I'm not even an art criminal, but I have committed art crimes. These next couple that I want to do for you are from a series of poems called the Graffiti Monologues. Anywhere, any given time, in any major city in America, you can find the works of my friends and peers, whether they be in giant murals along the side of overpasses, on the side of delivery trucks, or even on little tiny stickers in haiku form. Let's do this like this. Mural. Through transit windows burst blood, sweat, and paint of those just making a name with a circus act canvas to turn concrete to gallery. No city permit as we implement our own urban renewal with a neighborhood blessing on buildings they would just condemn. Vandalism is their only way of saying they cannot decode our secret of freedom from behind crumbling walls. Most museums are stolen artifacts sheltered in glass, concrete, steel. We simply rip the roof off and don't charge admission. Tag, a noun and verb, the autograph you didn't need to know, calligraphy dead in schools. Welcome to the master class, the audacity, the skills, the balance, the light, the funk, the talent, the get down hard round midnight dares witnesses to love it. The best way to mess with their fragile heads is to exist in nature, paint over institution and tear its crumbling walls down. You're gonna feel me, even if you don't know me. The name and flow, see, blends in shadow, rises in sun, masterpieces on the run. My tag against public transit sides like the wind. You tell us we aren't a force of nature when you never saw us there. A haiku. What is vandalism? Name on transit side or child's name on tombstone? For the curators of fine boxcar galleries across the United States of America. They tell us we don't own these streets and tunnels. Not like we've ever had much of anything to start with. Even with titanic talent, we are labeled vandal, misfit, sociopath. I let my name take ownership, made my neighborhood a panoramic that melted the frame, turned trains into 3D sculpture that with characters that followed passengers on and off, gymnastics that leap from sketchbooks, turning them into mixtape. Encyclopedia, scrolls traded amongst monks, style transmitted across town and over borders. These window etchers, they wouldn't know Etch-a-Sketch from Escher. I heard your neighbor whipped your ass, not for the graffiti on his garage, but because your style sucks. Take the sidewalk chalk and get out of my face. Battling is something that you need to check the syllabus, history. Humans have obsessed over leaving their marks since cave paintings. It's how we discovered immortality. Geometry, assessing your target on approach determines your originality and efficiency. Phys ed, you have no stories to tell if you're getting jumped and robbed of your gear. Civics, we are criminalized until we make money for society. Philosophy, you gotta exist for this beyond ego. Most of us are just painting for the choir. You got to step outside the sanctuary of self and take up a cause. I bombed Mandela when apartheid's architects weren't trying to hear freedom. I tagged MLK as a deserved cry for a holiday. It's why we paint memorial walls. It's why I climb rusted fire escapes out onto the ledge of my own id, practicing art with arthritic perfection, massage the tension from my neck from craning upwards or twisting ankles for chasing some knucklehead like you, going over my style with dripping amateurism. Chasing fame only got me chased by the vandal squads. Heat from youngins like you only brings assault charges. All I wanted was to rewrite urban blight. You make your name for namesake, but your style is a field trip. Mine is Timothy Leary. I leave a trail of traces and paint fumes, fractals breaking midnight to high noon, addictive vision and the feeling that fingertips are useless unless depressing fat caps. So wait your turn. Salute veteran days. We rule the lines one car at a time, one rooftop at a time, for hours at a time. So until you're ready to stop fighting style wars and document yourselves, until you're ready to attack walls like they spit on your mother, until your fingertips bleed spray paint, forget tagging, kid. Show me that you can write. So one more. I've taken you through the neighborhood. We hopped on the train. And now we've gone to the club. And tonight's show is a rock and roll show. Because it's Black History Month, right? February 1st, y'all. Black Rockers History Month. I will leave you with this. Obsidian weight champions. Obsidian. A volcanic rock, technically glass. can be as brittle as brilliant, very heavy in large deposits, craft blade dangerous when fresh, too hot to handle, can sharpen to surgical precision. These obsidian weights will bring a rock, massive and iridescent, edges so sharp that turntable stylist becomes weaponized, cuts that your local college DJ cannot resist. Broadcast will come with warning disclaimers. Going to sound like earth heaving, grace under pressure until magma and steam create a vent the hard way, megaton blast, radiation and fallout encore. Going to sound like Shango shaming the devil at a block party at the crossroads. This band is live alligator in your gumbo, rocket fuel in the whiskey, locomotives revving underground, melting the track in their wake. This band gonna sound like the Great Migration through Marshall Stacks. This band gonna be djembe, DJ and effect pedal, gonna bleed unadulterated acid soul, hip hop if ignored, the beat drop, jazz finger solos versus blues tempos, gut bucket woofers and gospel tweeters. This band gonna be the baddest, like kids at recess cussing with a motherfucking bullhorn. This band gonna escape every attic rehearsal with a taste for riot, lit by the fuse for funk, hit the switch, hit the pit. This band gonna sound like a frontman's last 100 spent on a long distance audition after flunking 2 midterms. Think you can see a battle of the bands? You got a problem on your hands. Come and get some of this shrapnel and angst and all the stomp and sway and this gravity. See a griot reading news and more motions in the fortunes of the mosh, sounding like freeform poetry with ancestors whispering through the monitors. Hit him again, my child. Hit him again. This band will accompany funeral pyre, Phoenix Rising, gonna sound like sub-Saharan diasporic litanies and anthems. This band gonna sound like lift every voice and chant up the sound. Babylon, your throne of gone down. This rock, a fragile danger, gotta be handled with love. We arrive not just to rock a party and in all stages of matter, sweating electric current through dark matter, keeping current on dark matters, keeping current while in the dark matters. Like all descendants of Sister Rosetta, the obsidian weights will remix time, shred space, scratch surface to core, ignite the biggest bang with talking drum, lightning fury, and kinetic coda. My name is Billy Tuggle. I'm from the south side of Chicago. These are poems from an upcoming manuscript called If a Tree Falls in the Hood. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Give it up for Billy Tuggle. Give it up. Wow. 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 We are so very privileged and gifted to have both of you with us today. Thank you so much for all you guys do. Thank you so much for all you guys are. I'm gonna go ahead and open things up for next 10 minutes or so to a Q&A session. So if anyone here has any questions, if anyone on Zoom has any questions, please ask those questions. Right now, I don't know what happened here, but I messed something up. Hold on. This is what I messed up. Okay. I need to be on my Zoom page. I'm not very good at technology, people. I know that that's a secret to nobody who knows me. Okay. So yes, here we go with our Q&A portion of the show. So please, yes, thank you, Billy. You beat me to it. Billy and Stacy, please put your information in the chat. We would love to get to know you. We would love to see more of you. I know Billy hosts a monthly online open mic. So please let us know about that one. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with a question and answer session. My first question that I had prepared, Stacy already kind of answered. So I'm going to ask you, Billy, but I'm also going to give a second level to the question as well. Why poetry? Like, why are you a poet? Why did you do this? And then after you answer that, I will ask the second question to both of you.
The plain old human answer is I am a geek with a pen that started after reading comic books and song lyrics when I was 10, 11, 12 years old. and it just won't freaking stop. The metaphysical answer is everybody has something to express, and the right, if not the duty, to express it and to share, and how to do it.
So then a follow-up question to both of you. What is it that you hope to accomplish with your poetry, with what you're doing? And just kind of like with this program, my vision for this program, the reason that I am heralding this program is so that we can see, we can experience this world through other eyes. Because I think far too often, you know, we hear things like, well, that doesn't affect me, why should I care? And what we don't recognize is that everything affects everyone. You just may not realize it. And so part of my vision for this program is to get that message out there so we can learn from each other and get to know each other and maybe realize that things aren't right and need to be fixed. So what's your purpose? Billy, Stacy, why do you do what you do? What do you hope to accomplish?
Well, I do this for all the reasons listed in the poem, obviously, but I also do it because someone has to sing for my sisters, and it just doesn't get done. We are mentioned peripherally. We are taken way too lightly most of the time. We are the ones who biologically are responsible for putting more of us out into the world. And you would think that that would bring a little bit more honor and a little bit more attention. It brings neither. It just brings more work, more worry, more hardship, and our stories and the way that we walk through the world gets buried in all of that. It's my job to sing those stories as often as I can, as loudly as I can, and also to make sure that people understand all Black women are not the same. We love differently, live differently, sleep differently. All of that needs to be out in the world so that we don't forget you're not dealing with an icon, you're not dealing with an entity, you're not dealing with the second half of something, you're dealing with a person.
I think, Stacy, were you done?
Yes, yes.
Because you really caught me in the rapture of what you're saying. Everything I do, I started out, of course, as a human and individual and in my ego. And, you know, I have something to express, and then you learn everybody around you has something to express, and then you learn what's going on around you and how it relates to you. So now at the literal almost age of 51, my birthday is next Monday, which incidentally is also Sandra Bland, would have been her birthday. She did not kill herself. Everything I do at this age is for the voices of Black people, African people, persons of color, in that order. I am Black people, I am African people, even though I am fourth generation American. I'm a fourth generation Southside Chicago American. My wife is a Latino American. My daughter is African American. We are Black people, we are brown people, and we are still not heard in general. And I, at this stage of my career, which has been half of my life, have moved on from my own ego, despite the fact that I like to compete and do poetry slams and write books and record and get on stage. I become a fan of people like Stacy, like Patricia Smith, like Nikki Giovanni. If you're not familiar with Patricia Smith, she is my mentor. She's my big sister, my homegirl, and my mentor. And I would like to include Stacy now as one of those homegirls, as well as earn that siblinghood. I can run my mouth all day about Black people's stories, but then we can get it a bit more into why you don't know about my mother, my sister, my daughter, my homegirls, or other brown people like my wife, like my mother-in-law's story, and people, we're still not heard. But also in the vein that Stacy says that Black people are not monolithic, also the sun shines on the hood. We can talk about all of the bad things, and we will. We can talk about all of the things that are not positive, and we will. But also when I do things like I craft my 15 or 20-minute set, I go, okay, how can I take you from one place to the next? I took you from the stories and a couple of things that piggybacked off of what Stacy was doing. And I literally walked you through a true story that happened to me one night about 10 years ago. But I took you to, you know, things that I do. I get on the train. I was a graffiti writer when I was younger, and I saw these things and things that did bring me joy, even though they might not necessarily be legal, even though I might be courting the eye of the law. It makes you question what the law really is. It makes you question what things are culturally. It also kind of tells you that Black and Indigenous people have certain things, whether it's our voices, whether it is our chosen arts, that are really kind of ancestral, and we really kind of reinvent, remix, reincarnate them. And at the end, we show you how we renew them. So I took you basically through social justice, through hip hop without rap music. I took you through hip hop, through graffiti art. And then I took you to rock and roll because, you know, y'all be forgetting Black people invented rock and roll. So there's your Black History Month. I just took you through a whole walk, and those are the kinds of things that I aim to do with poetry, is to teach the voice and the writing and the history, and to wrap that in one package, and to be able to do that on a stage, in a bar, in a classroom, or in just a group of fun folks.
Right on. Wow. We're going to be closing up shortly, but I want to make sure everyone has a chance. If anyone on Zoom or if anyone in the room has any questions for either Billy or Stacy or both, please do not be shy. That's what we're here for today. Anybody? Because I can rap with these two people all day long. So, and I can because I know them. So you guys have a chance to now. So please, anybody have anything to say or share or want to ask?
I might have a question.
Okay.
So just listening to kind of piggyback off of what you said, Billy, about the voice, and based off of what you both said, this is a gift that God gave you, so you just have no choice to use it. Was there ever a point where you kind of like battled with yourself or the confidence of having the voice, and you might have the idea to be, it's in it for you to write and to be poetic, but the confidence of it, the delivery, like how do you stand in it? Like, because what you say is so deep, sometimes I'm just like, I'm taken away. So how did you build the confidence of, you know, just a poet and the voice?
For me, it's not so much about the confidence thing. It's about, I have no choice but to do this. Nobody in their right mind gets up and says, you know what I'm going to do for a living? I'm going to be a poet. Okay, that's not a thing. Okay. I did not
teachers instead. No,
I did not choose poetry. Poetry came and got me. I don't have a choice. Okay. And I flirted with, you know, other professions and all of that. It did not answer what my soul needed to do. I am bound to do this. I am required to do this. Not just by the virtue of the fact that I'm pretty good at it, but because my ancestors demand it, my sisters need it, and the world has to hear it.
A quick follow-up question, Stacy, because I know you have done workshops and you've done presentations where you help poets find that voice and find that confidence, right? Mm-hmm. How do you do that?
The daily beatings help, you know. it's about acknowledging the fact that everybody in the world can do this. Maya said, everybody can do everything. It's about levels. And I'm really good at seeing people's potential and their levels. So it's really just a process of, okay, stop masking. I'm not interested in what other people think about you or what you do. I'm interested in hearing from you. I am interested in hearing about your journey. Everything else is irrelevant. I don't care if your Aunt Mabel loves what you do. Are you being honest about this? Are you being true about this? The confidence thing, you know, I usually tell my students, this is a small part of your life. It will not solve world hunger. It will not stop wars in Africa. It's a poem. And it's, you know, 3 to 5 to 7, whatever minutes of your life. Okay. It will not kill you. And if it does, we'll say something nice at the funeral.
There you go.
Try to follow that up, Billy.
There's absolutely nothing to follow that up with other than I had mentioned before, is like Black and brown folks, Black, African and indigenous people. This is the reinvention and remix of ancestral art. And just as far as my own personal confidence, I came to this not as an academic, I came as a street/stage poet. I was a vocalist in bands and such, and a terrible rapper. I either wanted to be Run DMC when I was a kid or Prince. And I didn't have the discipline with guitar, but I had notebooks full of stuff. And because I come from hip hop, when I come to a stage, whether it's an ordinary open mic or poetry reading or whatever, for those 3 to 5 minutes, I'm the baddest thing on the planet. And you're going to respect that I have this microphone. Even if you don't listen, even if you don't like it, you're gonna respect it. And that's hip hop. And I just come from that. Some old Gen X shit, really.
Nice.
Thank you, thank you.
Anyone online, on Zoom, any questions for Billy or Stacy or us here at the diversity? Yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't have necessarily a question, but I will say this, that I think that I love the pieces that you guys share. I think they're very much so needed. As you know, it helps to give a voice to the voiceless and also to articulate how people are feeling and what others really need to hear. Because sometimes it's not as easy to put words into that everyday, you know, struggle with thoughts or just feelings and emotions. And so when you hear it and it resonates, you know, like my mom always say, like, you know, what comes from the heart reaches the heart. It's penetrating, and it's just like, yes, you know, like this is exactly what it feels like. This is exactly how I feel. This is exactly what I go through. So yeah, bravo.
No.
Thank you.
I mean, you know, I was raised in church, so I learned how to do this, you know, in AME, you know, Southern Baptist churches. Because in those places, you tell the truth or you get tagged. People will talk about you during their testimony. Okay.
Amen.
And I would kind of like to, you know, I wanted to avoid that. So, and the other thing is that I'm a huge, huge fan of tell them what you're going to tell them what you told them, and then you leave. Okay. Nobody needs to hang around. Heart messages are brief. It does not take 300 pages to say, I love you, or I hurt, or I know you're hurting too. Just say it and be gone. There are other people who want to talk.
Anyone else on Zoom? Any comments, questions?
Hi, I just want to follow up with kind of what Dariana said. I just think that words itself does almost the same thing as music, right? So just hearing the pieces that you guys gave us, oh my God, thank you for one, but just hearing those pieces resonated some things inside of me, and I'm like on go mode now. You know, it's the same like with music will get you in that mode. And I just want to thank you, Stacy and Billy, for just sharing. And just I had two of the young men sitting in my office while you guys were sharing, who's never seen anything like this or even been to a poetry slam, and they were like, oh my God, that's so good. They're two basketball players here at Kish. So just again, thank you.
Ripples, y'all. That's exactly why we're doing this here. Ripples, because that's how we change. So, but thank you all for attending. Thank one more time. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Stacy, for making this day amazing. Thank you for making this universe amazing. Thank you for making my life amazing. And we look forward to seeing y'all again. Again, please make sure you put your information in the chat so we can keep in touch and follow you guys. Facebook and IG stalk you. And our next Hearing Marginalized Voices Through Poetry event will be in April. We will have the amazing Kai Kagan, who will be sharing poetry, and we'll be honoring LGBTQ awareness. So that'll be in April. We'll have the announcements go out as soon as we finalize everything. So I want to close off real quick with a couple of things. I don't know how many of you, there's a show on CW right now called the 4400 that's doing some pretty amazing things. And there was a quote last night that I wanted to share with everyone, because I think this really hits home the point of what we're trying to do here. They will believe anything that excuses their irrational hatred of us, whatever narrative works for them. We're not human to them. And how can we reason with them if that's what they think? And I think that that's what we need to do, is we need to make each other human again. And through poetry and spoken word and music and oral histories, this is how we do it, because we see that our experiences are not all that different, and we need to stop dividing everything. So I thank you for that. And I just want to end with, since my brother Billy likes haikus so much, I got a couple things I want to share with you. Black Lives Matter. "'Twould would seem that I prefer moral advocates over devil's advocates. If we normalize humanization, perhaps things might get better." So with all that being said, there is an event survey. I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat. I would love to have people go to the survey, answer the questions, so we can continue programming like this going here at Kish, so we can keep the dream alive. So until next time, please click on the link. Please fill out the survey. Once again, thank you, Billy. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, everyone who came to attend. And until next time, peace, love, and poetry, y'all.